Don't lose thousands of dollars on your next rental property turn. Use my 6-step method to make sure that you are systematized, ready for that vacancy, getting that property back to tip-top shape, and move in ready for your next great tenants. I'll have all that plus some bonus tips on how not to lose even more money and have unnecessary vacancies at the end of this video. All of that and more on your favorite channel, Investing in Bryan in College Station, Texas, where we go over everything about growing your wealth through real estate in my favorite towns of Bryan and College Station, Texas. You guys enjoy. It's already hot out here in Texas in the middle of June, so let's get inside a recent vacancy I have, a property I'm currently turning, and I'll tell you exactly how I did it and how I'm gonna save a bunch of money in the process. Your first step is your pre-move out inspection. Let's go in and check out this unit. So of course, this tenant's already moved out, but my recommendation is to walk your unit about a week prior to move out while your tenant's still living there. Even earlier is better. What you're looking for at this point are major issues. In this property, this floor has been here since the 1980s. It had to go. The other things that we notice when we walk this particular one, and we always look at, are the appliances. So in this kitchen, the stove that was here, I'll shoot you guys a picture. It was original to the property.
Oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 no.
There's no way a tenant was gonna pay top dollar. In this case, we're getting just shy of $1,000. There's no way they're gonna pay $1,000 a month with some junked out oven. Upgraded that, and it didn't even have an above the range microwave. That had to go. These are major things we wanna know up front. Sometimes there's a back order in ordering appliances, or you wanna get a good deal. In this case, Memorial Day savings was a big one for us. We were able to utilize that during this term. So again, floors, appliances, we're looking at paint. So we knew that we were gonna need a pretty heavy paint on this one. In walking through, we were able to take note, hey, the back bedroom's gonna need some paint. The other thing you're gonna wanna check out is the bathrooms. Major things like vanities, that you're gonna have to order, you're gonna wanna know ahead of time. In this particular unit, the tub was original to the property and it was just beyond usable. So as you can see behind me, we had our contractors come in and go with a full tile surround. It's a great upgrade, our tenants are gonna love it. Step 2 is to plan out your turn. So that means compiling a list of all the major items that are gonna be done. For that, we're talking about appliances, when are they get installed? Countertops, when are they gonna get installed? Flooring, when is it gonna get installed? If you have to replace an entire tile surround, when is that gonna happen and how long is it gonna take? For this, you wanna make sure you get your contractors involved. So I reached out to my flooring guy, made sure that he had time to come in here and measure the size of the flooring he was gonna replace, and then know exactly when that install was gonna happen. I also had to coordinate my cleaners on the backside of that. I wanted to make sure that my painting was done before the floors returned, so I had my painter come in early in the process, and that tile surround took a long time, so I wanted to make sure that those guys were getting started quickly. The other thing you want to make sure you know in this one is timeline and price that your contractors are going to give you estimates on. Now, I've worked with my contractors for a long time, so I was able to do that even prior to them seeing the unit because we've done these kind of things before. If you're new to this, you might want to even get the contractors in while those tenants are still in the property to get those estimates. The last piece of advice on that is if your contractor, and I don't care how long you've worked with them, if your contractor says it's going to take 3 days, just give them a 4th day. Things happen, people get sick, guys call in, don't show up to work, all kinds of things happen. Give that one extra buffer day because you do not want to move in a new tenant to their brand new apartment only to find out that they can't use their shower because it's not done yet. So do yourself a huge favor, building that buffer. All of that is in step 2, which is planning. Step 3 is to actually walk the unit after the tenants move out. Now this is a very important step with 2 objectives. 1, we're gonna make sure everything works. Flick every light switch, check every outlet, check all the blinds. But 2, we're also gonna record in very extreme detail the condition of the unit that the tenant left it in. So first off, like I said, we're gonna go through, we're gonna look at every single light switch. I'm gonna open every single cabinet. I'm gonna turn on every fan to every speed. I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna open up the cabinets, make sure that there's no leaks under the sink. I'm gonna run the dishwasher, make sure that works. I'm gonna turn on all my burners, make sure they work. I'm gonna turn on the vent fan, I'm gonna open every door, I'm gonna lock every lock. Because of course, I want my tenants to move in to a place that is suitable of the rent they're paying. This is gonna be a very long list, and this is gonna be a list for your handyman. So like I said, the second objective of this is to document the condition that the tenant left the property in. Ultimately, the tenant is responsible here in Texas for damages beyond normal wear and tear. Now, there is some subjectivity in that, and I can tell you later how I do and actually run a deposit reconciliation and how I charge my tenants. You wanna make sure you're super fair. What we look for is if there's a hole in the wall, my wall didn't create a hole in itself, that's probably gonna be tenant damage. If there's a major stain on the carpet, that's probably tenant damage. But hey, if the wall has a scuff in it, or there's some holes where they hung some art, that's just normal wear and tear. People get those kind of credits and we apply those as appropriate. The only way that you can do that absolutely fairly is document everything in the unit so that when you do the deposit reconciliation, easy word to say, when you do that a few weeks down the road, you have a fresh memory of exactly how it looked. You've got over 100 pictures. I'm serious. Take well over 100 pictures and a video of the condition of the property. This way there's no doubt in anyone's mind exactly how that property was left to you so that you can charge them accordingly. The same day that I walk the unit post move out, I also sit down on my computer and I compile that list I made of all the things that need to get fixed. I'm assigning each item to a specific person, be it myself, a handyman, a plumber, an HVAC tech, whoever needs to get that done. I have it written there on my list on my Excel spreadsheet. I also immediately hop on either Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace Hardware, or your favorite place to order supplies. Amazon's a good spot as well. And I put a link to each of the item that I have to order. So I know whether I'm gonna order it off of Amazon or I'm gonna go pick it up at Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever. So now I have a full list of everything that needs to get fixed. I have a full list of all my supplies. And honestly, it's best right then and there just to order them. Lowe's and Home Depot, Walmart, they all have curbside pickup or in-store pickup. Order it for store pickup. And then for Amazon, just go ahead and get that delivered. Get that started now, ASAP, so that you can get your guys working as soon as possible. All right, now it's game day. It's time to get your contractors or yourself into the unit to start doing the work. Make sure you have that punch list handy, have it printed out and in the unit so everybody knows exactly what needs to get done. If you're using a contractor for the first time and you're not doing the work yourself, you won't be in the unit, I recommend you go there at least once a day. Turns really shouldn't take much more than a week. So go there once a day and check in on their progress. Make sure they're showing up on time like they say they are. Make sure they're getting the work done that they say they are. And make sure this unit's gonna be ready for your tenants when you told them it would be. If you have to, grab a paintbrush, jump in, and speed up the process. It's very important that we get this done quickly because we don't want our tenants to have the first impression moving into their new apartment that it's a shithole. Sorry for the language, but that's gonna be their thought. They wanna open it up, have everything be complete and clean, and right now, time is of the essence. So stay on top of your contractors. Don't allow them to give you excuses why things aren't getting done. They have to get done. Your tenant is gonna move in on time and they're gonna love the property. Pro tip when working with contractors. For one, I recommend that you order your own supplies. A lot of times the contractors will have a markup on the supplies they order. It takes a lot of time for them to go pick it up. And you can usually get a discount if you become a pro member at Lowe's or Home Depot, Ace or wherever. So one, order your own supplies. Two, don't pay your contractors till the work is done. You're buying the materials. If they're buying the materials, you can pay them material cost up front, but then don't pay them for the labor until you're seeing progress. Some contractors will ask to be paid halfway through. I'm fine with that. Some contractors want weekly draws so they can pay their guys. I'm fine with that. But the last dollar, the largest chunk of money is not paid out until I'm completely satisfied with the job that they did. Step 5 happens the day prior to move in, and this is your final walkthrough. This is where you're gonna go in with that punch list that you created and you're gonna check everything. Make sure your contractors fixed what they were supposed to fix. If they installed a microwave, is it on? Does it work? Is it secure? Make sure the walls are painted, that it's the correct color, the right sheen. Make sure the doors are opening and closing. All little things, any work that your contractors did, this is where you're gonna verify it. If they didn't do the work or it's not up to your satisfaction, call them back out. If they did, then once they give you that invoice, go ahead and cut them the check. In this process, you'll also be dropping off a move-in package for the tenants. That's simply a folder with pertinent information in there. We'll print out their lease. We'll provide them some information about me, my wife, how to put in a maintenance request. We'll also include like their move-in inventory and condition form. That's a form they're gonna fill out. We'll note any defects in the house to make sure they're not charged for it on the move out. An example of that would be, hey, there's a small crack in the countertop right here. Go ahead, put it on your move-in inventory condition form. You won't be charged. Lastly, we like to give our tenants a little gift. Now, this doesn't have to be a lot. It's just something to say, hey, thanks for being a great tenant. We look forward to you living in our place, and we look forward to taking care of you as a tenant. Usually we go with like a home goods gift card, something that they can buy for the apartment to make it their own home. Otherwise, you can go with a Target gift card. Starbucks is always a big one. Chick-fil-A is a good option as well. We usually keep this around $10 to $30. Nothing too crazy, but just something to say, hey, thank you. We're looking forward to working with you guys. Your tenants are moved in, but you're not done yet. Step 6 is post-move-in paperwork. So before we get into the deposit and how we return the deposit to the original tenant, let's talk about the maintenance request you're about to get. Within the first week of move-in, tenants usually put in a large volume of maintenance requests, and these are probably things that should have gotten fixed during the turn that you missed, and that's perfectly normal. You were only in the unit for a few hours. Your tenant lives there. They're going to notice little things that you never would have caught. No harm, no foul. Send your contractors and your handymen back in there to make the appropriate repairs. Okay, now once all the repairs are complete, your job is going to be to collect invoices. You want to have all the documentation and exact expense of all the repairs that were done, because if there were any damages, we're about to charge the previous tenant for those damages. And we do that through what's called a deposit reconciliation. Here in Texas, we have to get that back to the previous tenant within 30 days. And this might be a surprise to you guys, but contractors are notoriously bad at paperwork, to include sending out invoices, even though that's how they get paid. So you're going to have to stay on top of them to make sure you get those invoices in a timely manner. You also want those invoices as much as possible to be itemized. For example, let's say you were going to do a full paint on an apartment because it needed a full paint. However, the giant hole in the wall was tenant damage, and your painter patched and painted that hole. Well, that hole has to be broken out from the invoice separately so we know what that charge was. Maybe the paint cost you $1,500 to have the whole thing painted, but that hole was a $200 repair. Your contractor charges you $17. You break out the $200. You subtract that from the tenant's deposit. Say his deposit was $1,000, so you subtract that $200, and you mail him back $800 along with the deposit reconciliation that says exactly that. $1,000 deposit minus $200 in damages for hole in wall and back left bedroom. Deposit returned $800. And you have all the documentation to support that. If he calls you and says, hey, this is BS, that's fine. I've got an invoice from my contractor, and I have all those move-out pictures that I took that highlights that back bedroom and the giant hole that was in it. So now you're done. From pre-move out to coming up with your punch list to walking the unit to final walkthrough and your deposit reconciliation, you've now completed a complete turn on your property. Your new tenants are moved in. They moved in a timely manner. They're happy, and you have returned the deposit to the previous tenant in the legally allotted 30 days. Congrats, you're done with your turn. You guys, I love my bonus tips. I've got 3 for you today that'll save you time, money, and or headache. First, let's talk about paint. When I walk a unit that I have not done a full paint on before, meaning I probably don't know the color of it, the first thing I do is I go to a back corner of a closet, somewhere people aren't gonna see, and I cut out with an X-Acto blade a 1" by 1" square piece of that wall. I take it to my local Home Depot or Lowe's, and I have them color match it. I immediately then write down that color, that sheen, the product I'm going to use in my software so that for future use, I know exactly what color I used. Now, if I'm doing a full paint, I use the same color and the same product in all my units. So my units that I have done full paints in, so for example, this one, we have not done a full paint in. This is an original color from when we bought it. But our units where we have done that before, I go with agreeable gray in an eggshell. And it's gonna be a Valspar 2000 paint every single time. So when I go to turn those units, I don't have to think about it. In fact, in my garage right now, I have a 5-gallon bucket of Valspar 2000 eggshell agreeable gray. It's ready to go for my contractor's use. Bonus tip number 2, let's talk about flooring. As I mentioned, this carpet is pretty old, it's pretty beat up, not the tenant's fault, that's normal wear and tear. Similarly, the single piece of linoleum is disgusting, it's old, it's probably been here since the property's been here. It's time to get rid of it. Now, on my first floor units, I try to go with a glue down laminate flooring throughout. If I have second floor, like this is a second floor apartment, I will reinstall carpet in the bedrooms. It just muffles some of the sound for my tenants below. So why do I use a glue down laminate? Quite simply, it saves a ton of time and money. For one, it's generally cheaper, and I think it looks just as good as any of the click-in LVP flooring that people are doing. Now, the reason I don't go with the LVP flooring, not only is it more expensive, it's also harder to repair or replace if there's an issue. So let's assume my tenant moves in and they have a big, heavy, antique kitchen table, and in the move-in process, they scrape the shit out of my floors. Well, if it's an LVP product, those are all clicked in. So I'm gonna have to have somebody come in and row by row, remove that flooring till they get to the damaged one, replace it, and then reinstall. This could cost $200, $300, $400, $500. And that's damaged, so I'm gonna have to charge my tenant $200, $300, $400, $500 to fix a floor just because they scraped it on move-in, and that seems kind of ridiculous. But if you have a glue down product, what those are individual tiles that are glued down. I just grab a spare one, grab a pair of pliers, rip up that piece of flooring, slam down the new one, and I'm off to the races. That might cost, even if I hire somebody to do it, it might cost $50. So now I took a $200, $300, $400 expense, lowered it down to $50. It's easier on me, it's cheaper on my tenants, everybody walks away happy. Okay, this is the last tip and the most important one. Very specific to Bryan-College Station. There is a strand of super fleas. I kid you not, I can't make this up. So starting last year, we noticed this. It was taking 3 weeks to get rid of fleas in an apartment. Normally, it takes about 10 days. So we were doing our pre-move out walks. We were walking the units and we were noticing fleas. No big deal, call the pest control company. 10 days later, we should be good. 10 days go by, we still have fleas. 2 weeks go by, we still have fleas. 3 weeks go by, we still have fleas. Now, why is this a big deal? Because the new tenants were supposed to move in 2 weeks ago. We still have fleas. What's going on? I don't have a solution beyond you need to be very sensitive, and I recommend walking in a unit that has pets more than just the 1 week prior to. Walk it a month prior to their move out. As you walk through, take notice of your shoes. I would even walk through in shorts. I know it's disgusting, but this is stuff you gotta do as a landlord. Walk through in shorts, check those hairy legs of yours, and see if there's anything jumping around. If you're noticing fleas, for one, don't get in your car. Knock all those things off because you do not want to bring those things home. But two, immediately call your local pest control company here in Bryan-College Station. I really like Aero Pest Control. So give them a ring, have them come out and start treating these fleas. I don't know what it is. It's a super strand. They take really long to get rid of, and you want to start now. Otherwise, if you wait, then you're gonna have to push back the move-in date for your new tenants, and that's not a good look. Nobody wants to do that. Those are your bonus tips. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, and hang around. I'll see you guys next video.